In today's brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters, it's turbo time as the absolutely epic Porsche 935 tries to dethrone the Lotus 49C. Can it take top spot? Only one way to find out. What's going on, guys? My name is Batilio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and a brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters. And this week, as you can see, we have this, the Porsche 935/77. And the reason I decided to do this car for this week is we haven't done anything to do with Porsche yet. And Porsche, as a lot of you guys will know, being motorsport fans, as I assume you are, it is one of the most, if not the most, dominant motorsport manufacturer ever, because they have, obviously they're the most dominant in the history of Le Mans. They've won in various other different forms and categories of motorsport as well, and not only that, but a lot of the cars they've produced down the years have not only been dominant at the point of when they're first at the track, but they've been dominant for years and years and years following that. So the reason I decided to go for the 935 though is purely because I love the look of it. I really do love the look of the car. And also I love the look of the stats, which we're going to take a look at now. So obviously, as you can see, it's based off the 911. I think it was the Carrera RSR I think it was based off, but that's kind of where the similarities, I suppose you could say, end, because obviously it's had some amendments to the bodywork. It looks a little bit different, but it's got that classic 911 shape. But when you look at the stats, for a car that is over 40 years old now, it's absolutely mind-boggling for me. It is packing a 3 to a 3.2 litre flat 6 engine with two massive triple K turbochargers bolted to it as well, which basically produces 760 brake horsepower, gives it a top speed of 218 miles an hour and 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds. And that nearly 220 miles an hour for a car that's nearly 40 years old. It's mind-bending to me, it really is. And when you consider this is, like I said, it's based off a Porsche 911. It's not something that was built from the ground up to just purely go racing. It was based off an existing road car. Like I said, it's amazing, it really is. And like I said, this went through a number of different iterations down the years. You got the 935/77, the 935/80, the 935. You got the K1, K2, K3, and so on and so forth. So many different iterations. It was so dominant for so long, and like I said, I just absolutely love the look of it. In terms of how it handles and what I did in terms of setup, it was very, very understeery. It was very, very difficult to get into a corner. Once you're into the corner, it's okay for a small period of time, and then getting out of the corner is the next little challenge you come up against. But it's very, very understeery, and I did my best to try and get away from the understeer, but you got to a point and then it started to bring in more oversteer, which with two massive turbochargers kicking out a hell of a lot of boost, the last thing you want is the rear end getting away from you, because as soon as that boost kicks in, that's it, it's game over. You're going to be pointing in the wrong direction or going very, very quickly towards the scene of an accident, and a very big one at that. So yeah, understeer was the big problem. Because it felt so heavy, and it is quite a heavy car. As you saw there, it was 2,400 pounds nearly enough in terms of weight. And I don't mind telling you that after I'd completed my run, it wasn't so much I felt good about it because it was a good run and so on, and it felt really good. It was more relief that I could just say, okay, finally we're done, because my arms, I did it, I think I finished the last run about 10 o'clock last night. My arms still hurt, and it's like midday on the Thursday now. My arms, my shoulders, my neck even hurts from driving this car because it feels so heavy. It was so tough to drive. But yeah, so very, very tough to drive, but like I said, the stats were the things that drew me to it, because, and what I'm also going to point you out to look for is in the bottom left hand corner, because I've adjusted my head-up display. Bottom left hand corner is where the speedometer is now. Make sure you look at that, because the way this thing gathers speed is absolutely insane. So yeah, we're going to put it through its paces now. We're going to see how it did on the run. It obviously has the Lotus 49C to beat. Can it do it? I'm not sure. Only one way to find out though, so let's head down to the track and get things underway. Okay then, guys, here we go, and we're away. And there were so many difficult areas. This first one was very, very tough for this, because like I said, it's got a lot of understeer, and also it's not great at changing direction, so I was having to come completely off the throttle to get through the center S's at times. And down into here, it wasn't too bad through cruise liner corner, but trash can corner was very, very tough. And I'm just going to focus in now, just look at how this thing gathers speed, just look at that go. Just absolutely insane, all the way up to 150 miles an hour near enough. But as we come down to the magic roundabout, we're only going to take a little nick. I tried to take it more curb through there on occasions, but it would just unsettle the car so much that I'd go straight through those bollards and just completely wreck the car. This thing really is unhappy over the bumps. It doesn't matter what kind of bump, whether it's a big undulating bumps like through Stickman Squats as we move on to the Happy Highway, or those smaller little micro bumps we get, which you're going to see as we go through Ice Cream Cove in a little while. But as we come onto the Happy Highway, this was another one of those cars where, as we come to the crest just here, I'm having to lift just a little bit, just so this thing doesn't go completely airborne. This thing can go completely nose up if you do take the hump a bit too quickly. And it was kind of a theme. I was having to just lift a little bit through each of these bumps just to make sure I kept the run going, because otherwise it would, like I said, the nose would just pitch straight up in the air and it would be game over. But as we come through Stonewall Corner, wasn't too bad through there actually. One of the quicker cars through there. But coming down into Understeer Corner here, and again, it wasn't too bad. You get it slowed down, it's okay, but it's just that whole mentality of wanting to try and get go in as quick as you possibly can. And through here, this was one of the areas it struggled with. It's very, very bumpy through here. The rear end was always trying to get away from you, and especially on the braking, it was trying to get away and cause a big accident basically. And the other issue I had with this is just trying to figure out the gearing through some of these areas, because it's only got 4 gears. It was, I don't know, challenging at times to figure out where I should be going through second or third, because it was, you know, it kind of sat between it. It could really use a 5-speed gearbox, in all honesty. I'm not sure the reason why they put a 4-speed in it. Maybe due to the fact that it was an endurance racer, and the less gears you have, the less gear changes you have to make, and the more chance you've got to get into the race without a gearbox just completely disintegrating on you. But as we come through Silver Spoon Village, and this was another area that was very, very challenging. As you can see, I'm lifting quite a lot, as you'll hear if you listen. But I'm not. This isn't. Nothing's done by half measures on this run. I'm absolutely giving it as much as I possibly can. But this car is a very difficult car to drive. It really is. And I mean, if you go 3/4 speed, it's or even 90%, it's it's very, very easy to drive, relatively straightforward. But that last 10%, try to get that last bit of performance out, that's where this car really becomes challenging. But as we come to Bridge Corner, no drama through there, fairly straightforward. The problems I had was coming up to this corner. I had a few accidents on here because you come over a crest. It's very easy to get on the brakes and lock the rears up, and you'll just pirouette around, and that'll be the end of it. I'm having to really also be very, very careful as we come through here, the Monger-McRae hill climb complex, because obviously there's a lot of undulation, there's a lot of bumps in there, and it can really unsettle the car. I had a really good run going, but actually binned it into this wall on the right because I got a little bit too happy on the accelerator when those turbos kicked in, and it just pitched me off into the wall, and that was the end of the run basically. But yeah, like I said, again, with most of the runs I've had, I think it just needs someone who understands how to set up suspension a little bit more, because I tried to firm it up a little bit, but then it got worse over the bumps. While it was a little bit better in terms of understeer and oversteer, it got a lot worse over the bumps and a lot more challenging. Even through there, Mirage 1, which we just went through a couple of corners back, it was very, very difficult to get through there. I did drop it a couple of times as well, because you come over a bump and down. It's like I said, it's a blind apex, so it's very, very difficult to see. And down the pogo stick straight, it was also very challenging. I found myself hitting that wall on the inside about halfway down on a couple of occasions, because you kind of tippy-toed, and finding the line early is kind of difficult. You don't really want to have to make too many adjustments to the line that you're taking with this car. You need to get it set very, very early, especially through here. I had a couple of accidents coming through there as well. Like I said, this is probably the most difficult car I've driven so far in this series. But when you get it right, when you just find that razor's edge in terms of, you know, being in control and not being in control, it just feels absolutely amazing. It really does. And it is, like I said, it's challenging, but it's one of those really good challenges. And like I said, I got a real good workout with this car. My arms were very, very tired after it. It's a heavy car. It is a very heavy car, and I do like sort of not a massively heavy wheel, but I do like a bit of weight to the wheel when I'm driving it. But this kind of took it a little bit above and beyond, really, because like I said, I was absolutely knackered after this run was done. But coming down to the back end of the run, through deception here and sweeps, it was very, very good. Honestly, it just really felt like this was the best I'd ever taken this particular section in this car, because I got the line right, and that's the big thing. It's not so much taking speed through corners, it's finding the line through these corners. That's where you got to find those extra few tenths of a second and getting the line right. Didn't necessarily through there, but through here I felt very, very good. And getting onto the power as we come down towards Rocky Road, this is where I made my one and only mistake on the lap. As you can see, I said a little bit early, nicked the barrier, minimal amount of time lost there, but it was I was very, very frustrated that I got almost to the end without hitting anything, and then I do that. But coming down onto Rocky Road, and again, this corner coming up here, this one will really bring out the understeer in the car, so you're going to be very, very careful. You've got to sacrifice a little bit on the early part, and then you can reap the rewards, get up to fourth, then come down to second for this final corner. As we come through, just try to tentatively get the power down to get across the line without binning it. It's going to be a finishing time of 6 minutes 54.821. which not only puts it top of our leaderboard by quite a distance, near as makes no difference, 12 seconds over the Lotus 49C, but also it now currently sits 8th on the first page of the full-blown time trial leaderboard as well, which is absolutely insane. When you consider the cars that are around us, you've got everything above us is either a CLK LM or a McLaren F1 GTR Longtail. The fact that we're on the first page, and also we've got a couple of cars below us that not only have setups but are on a wheel. You know, you got that Corvette CR7 there as well, that C7R, sorry, and also there's an Audi R8 LMS in there as well. The fact that we've beaten them in this thing is very impressive. So it's a very, very good run overall. I do think I could go a little bit better. My first sector and my last sector weren't the best I'd ever done it. I was about, I think I was 4 tenths off in the last sector and 3 tenths off in the first one, but because my previous best run, I made a big boo-boo in the middle sector when I hit that wall that I mentioned. We were about 2.5 seconds faster through the middle sector than we were on our previous best run, so that's where the time has come. So yeah, fantastic run, very, very difficult car to drive. I was more relieved at the end of it than happy, because I could finally give my arms a bit of a rest. And like I said, I'm still a little bit sore. I'm still feeling sorry for myself a little bit. It's sort of kind of like I've been in a car accident almost, but I'm not. That's what makes it so fun. But yeah, like I said, brilliant car to drive. Highly suggest you try it, guys, because like I said, when you find that sweet spot on the edge of performance, when you're in control and out of control, when you find that razor's edge, it does feel very, very good to drive. But yeah, that's the end of today's episode, guys, so thank you everybody so much for watching. If you did enjoy, would like to see more Project Cars 2 and Hill Climb Monsters content from myself, then make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have suggestions about what cars you'd like to see me drive in this series, then leave a comment down below. I'm always happy to hear from you and hear your suggestions, because obviously this series wouldn't be doing as well as it is without you guys. So if there's something you want to see, then let me know. Always happy to hear from you. Oh, also, one other thing. In the description of this video, there is a link to a Twitter poll that I'm running. Because we've recently passed 1,000 subscribers, I want to do a video for that to celebrate that. So there's a Twitter poll. Go check it out. There's 2 options that I've put in there, and there's also one option where you can basically vote yourself or leave a suggestion, and if your suggestion gets the most likes or whatever and the highest percentages, blah blah blah, then that's the one I'll do. But yeah, go check that out. It is in the description as well. So but yeah, that's the end of today's video again, guys. So once again, thank you so much for watching. If I haven't mentioned it already, Happy New Year. Let's hope for a brilliant 2018. But yeah, thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.